Artificial intelligence is absolutely the buzzword of the decade right now. But we rarely actually look under the hood at the human and privacy costs that are required to build it. So today, we're unpacking a really fascinating and honestly pretty startling article titled Workplace Dystopia: Meta's Secret Plan to Watch Every Keystroke. In this explainer, we're going to dive right into the very real and very hidden realities of feeding the AI machine, specifically focusing on a controversial new internal program over at Meta.
So let me ask you this. Is every single keystroke you make at work being watched? Just imagine sitting at your desk for a second. You're drafting a quick email, writing a piece of code, or maybe just moving your cursor across the screen, but you know that every single micro action is being recorded, logged, and analyzed. I mean, for most of us, that sounds like some hypothetical scenario straight out of a futuristic sci-fi movie, right? Well, according to the source article we're exploring today, this isn't a theoretical concept at all. For employees working at Meta, this intense level of surveillance is supposedly their exact daily reality.
Section 1. The Secret Unveiled. Let's unpack the mechanism. Okay, so to really understand this whole surveillance architecture, we have to look at the what before we can fully grasp the why. The source actually identifies this operation as the Model Capability Initiative. Basically, this is Meta's internal engine, and its sole focus is harvesting the massive amounts of human behavioral inputs that are required to train and feed their AI models. It's this highly structured program that's entirely tasked with gathering the raw data they need to make their artificial intelligence smarter and more capable.
But how is the AI actually being fed? Well, first, by logging employee mouse movements, and second, by tracking literally every single keystroke. And to be clear, we aren't just talking about monitoring what time an employee logs in for the day or what time they log out. No, we are talking about granular, second-by-second behavioral tracking. By logging a mouse movement, the AI is actually learning how a human navigates a screen, how long they pause, and how they search for information. By tracking a keystroke, it learns pacing, workflow, and real-time problem-solving. The initiative is basically turning the daily, completely routine work habits of employees into this continuous, never-ending stream of raw training data.
Section 2. The Human Cost. Inside the data mines.
Technology doesn't just operate in a vacuum, right? It takes a massive workforce to actually implement it, and the sheer scale of this operation is what's truly staggering. 6,500. According to the source, 6,500 engineers have been reassigned to work specifically on this AI project. Just take a second to think about the sheer volume of human capital that number represents. These are thousands of highly trained, highly compensated professionals, and their primary daily function has been entirely redirected to serve the insatiable data needs of the AI model.
The source even introduces a very specific, kind of wild term for these individuals: the draftees. Yep, these are highly trained software engineers who have essentially been conscripted into manual, repetitive data labeling labor just to keep the AI fed. So instead of doing the complex coding and creative problem solving they were most likely hired for in the first place, these draftees are now being forced into tedious manual data entry work to categorize and provide context for the AI's training data.
And the article paints a pretty grim picture of this new reality, actually going so far as to describe these conditions as data labeling gulags. Now, obviously, that is incredibly strong, highly charged language being used by the author to describe the internal working conditions for these draftees. As an objective look at the source material, it's absolutely vital we understand the exact characterization being used here. The author is intentionally evoking the imagery of forced labor camps to really underscore the repetitive and involuntary nature of this work inside Meta. It highlights this massive disparity between the shiny futuristic promise of AI and the harsh, allegedly oppressive reality of the human labor that's actually required to build the thing.
Section 3. A New Workplace Dystopia?
Look, because Meta is such a huge trendsetter in the tech industry, what happens there often ripples outward to everywhere else. This article really forces us to look at the broader themes of corporate surveillance, and it leaves us with one core question you should definitely be taking away from this explainer today. Is a workplace dystopia the unavoidable hidden cost of building advanced AI? If artificial intelligence fundamentally requires the constant logging of human behavior and massive amounts of forced manual data labeling to function, can we ever actually achieve advanced AI without sacrificing privacy and employee autonomy in the process? It's a complex, super provocative question, and one that for sure is going to shape the future of how we all work. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpack this source material today. Stay curious, keep asking questions.